What's going on, everyone? Costi here with PickDawgz, here with Eric Pathy, back from his excursion. You haven't been here for 2 weeks, man. Missed you. What's going on?
I was watching everything from abroad, brother. I was right there in it real time. That's the beautiful thing about the internet. The internet, you're everywhere, no matter where you are. You could be on the top of Mount Everest betting games. I was betting games and following lines at 3:30 in the morning. It was wild.
You really believe there's some
Here's a
Wi-Fi on
funny-
Mount
here's a-
Everest? I want to know. Is there is there Wi-Fi?
Here's a funny story. So the Ravens game on Sunday night against the Buffalo Bills, the Sunday night game started at 3:30 in the morning, my time. Obviously, I wasn't going to stay up for it. I woke up like at 5 a.m. and I flipped over and I saw they were up 45-21. I'm like, oh, my son's in a good mood. You're in a good mood. Everybody's in good mood. Then I flipped the phone back over and I woke up at 9 a.m. my time. And I was like, what am I looking at? So it's like, it's funny because, you're in that fog when you wake up in the middle of the night and you watch that game. Obviously that's 2 weeks ago, but it's kind of a funny story. Like, I can only imagine the people that live outside of the United States on these crazy time schedules. You can't obviously stay up and bet. Not that you're going to make any money watching the games anyway, which is a whole nother subject we could talk about. But did you see it coming? You know how we've been watching games long enough that it's almost like, I don't want to say it's scripted, but there's nothing that I haven't seen. There's nothing that Al hasn't seen. There's nothing that you haven't seen. There's nothing that Dave Miller hasn't seen in a game. Did you get that sick feeling when you were watching the game? Like, uh-oh. Was it like a slow car crash?
You're talking about the Ravens game week 1?
Exactly.
When Derrick Henry fumbled, and I had action on the Ravens on that game. Didn't have a high unit. A lot of the times in this business, we try to stay away from week 1 high unit bets. So for those that are new, I always strongly recommend that. If you're betting week 1 of the NFL, bet small, get the feel for the teams, because that's really the preseason game. It's still preseason. It's week 1, but it's still preseason for a lot of players. But back to what you were saying, as soon as Derrick Henry fumbled, I knew we were in trouble because we just couldn't stop Josh Allen in the way that they were playing defense. The Ravens recipe is always the same when they have double-digit leads, is don't rush the passer. That's worked all game. Don't let anything deep, so they leave a lot of the underneath. And these quarterbacks that are elite are the ones that bring their teams back. And, John Harbaugh has had this issue for over a decade now. Granted, he's been our coach for such a long time, so he has a lot of these things come up where blown double-digit leads, but it is what it is. I mean, I'm one of those guys that I don't have a lot of emotion when it comes to losing a regular season game. Like, I'm mad for maybe an hour, and then the next day it's like back to business. But the good news about these products that we offer is we're not football centric. Even now, I mean, you could explain to everybody, like, you've been an underdog MLB bettor for quite some time now.
20 years.
And it's hard for the general public to say, how is this team going to win when they're +1 set? Everything data-wise, because that's the way baseball is driven for handicapping. It's starting pitchers, ERA. It's guys that, teams that are on streaks, and then you buck all of that and you bet the underdogs, and it's been actually very profitable. I mean, we're coming down here to the last couple of weeks of the season, so I'm excited to hear your thoughts about how the season went. I mean, now that we're at the end of it, pretty much how the models look this year opposed to other years. So excited to hear your thoughts.
So let me bring up my account this is a perfect illustration. The purpose of this show, and again, we understand, we're not going to, somebody's watching this show. Hopefully you're watching this to listen and learn how to improve your overall wagering. Of course, here in the PickDawgz community, you can get free pick after free pick after free pick after free pick after free pick. But my job is more like a professor. Everybody jokes, they say Professor Pathy, but it is to educate people on the realities of why. Listen, it sounds negative. Okay, it's not 99% of all bettors lose. It's 99.9999999%. And again, that could be very, again, when you're defining your time frame, right? The sports books are now publicly traded companies on the New York Stock Exchange, where you can log in and see their financials. FanDuel, DraftKings, et cetera, et cetera. This is no longer like, I think the books make money, right? Now, when you look at the legal sports books, what's interesting about their publicly traded stocks is they're sports books. They're not casinos. They're sports books. So their revenue is generated from sports. Show me, find me one company that's had a financials where they said the public won too much. We got hurt this quarter. It's non-existent. So what happens is a lot of people it's cognitive dissonance. They want to hyper focus on the individual games as opposed to saying there's 0.01%, not 1%, 0.01% of all bettors that consistently win. Now, what I mean by that is you can go to the leaderboard at PickDawgz.com and you can see that somebody is winning 100 units like Big Al flat betting for the season. It doesn't mean the clients will subscribe and actually follow the roller coaster ride. What does this lead in? It leads into the answer of your question about baseball. So we have the baseball season is split into two groups. First day to the All-Star break to the World Series. Consider the All-Star break like halftime. So I'm going to click on history. Right now, this is important. You can do the math for me. On the season, betting baseball, I am up $12,385. So that means if you bet every baseball game, you got to listen to me, Costi. Every baseball game since the first opening day that I released to you, you are up $12,385 if you risked $1,000 on every underdog. Forget about the win-loss record. It's meaningless. It's just like, who cares? You're up $12,385. Now, how about the client that joined on the first day of the baseball season and said, for the lack of a better word, forget you, Eric, F you, Eric, your baseball stinks at the All-Star break. He went into the All-Star break down 18 units. So from the first day of baseball to the All-Star break, you are minus $18,000 if you started with a $100,000 bankroll. You're down 18%, right? Minus 18,000. And if you can't handle variance and you can't handle the ebbs and flows of sports betting, you cut it off, you're done. You're part of the 99.9999999% of all bettors that lose because you claim you have a long-term approach. And in reality, you don't. You expect to win every day. You expect to win every week. You expect to win every month. And then I'm saying at halftime, which is the All-Star break, I've never had a losing baseball season. Who cares? We're down 18 units. People are calling me up. When I say people, newbies, not people that have been with me for years, right? I have clients that have been with me 20 years, 30 years. What's going on? I can't believe it. Okay, now, same account, minus 18,000 plus 12,000. So if you started and you subscribed, which you had plenty of subscribers that decided to come in after the All-Star break, that client is up 30 units. 18 plus 12. You had to make back the 18 units to get to zero. Now you're up 12 units. 18 plus 12 is what?
30.
So a dime player from the All-Star break is up 30,000, which means the first half of the season variance. The dogs that we had from our betting syndicate just weren't coming in. Who cares? Are you a marathon runner or are you sprinting? So now you have clients that are on my Telegram channel, on my Underdog channel, that you can only lead a horse to water. This is what me and Al talk about on our videos. Because in the financial markets, you manage money. You take the money from the client, you put it in an account, and you trade the stocks for him. Here, it's a little auspicious. You give the information to the client, but you can't make them follow the information. So I know that there's people that are in the Telegram channel shaking their head. I cannot believe I stopped. I'm done. I'm just going to watch the games. I'm not going to play the games. I'm going to watch the games. I'm not going to play the games. And literally from July 16th to, the irony is today's September 18th, July 16th, which was the All-Star break with the first game after the All-Star break. July 16th, August 16th, August 16th to September 18th, 2 months and 2 days, up 30 units. So that guy that threw in the towel, he said, I surrender. I'm going to wait till football. He's still on the channel. He's still watching the games. And he's practicing what's called Schadenfreude, which means he's rooting for me to lose. So he feels like he saved money not betting the games. You know what I mean? You understand what I'm saying, Costi?
No, I get it. So why do you think that is in the sports business? And I mean, I know the answer. I probably shouldn't ask it as a question, but the hyper focus of games winning and losing in this business, it takes away from that long-term approach. Like you said, in the stock trading world, in the crypto trading world, yeah, you might check your phone daily to see how you're doing, how much money you've made, how much money you've lost. But it's just that. Because most bettors watch the game start to finish, whether it's live, whether it's on their phones, while they're out at events, because they're so emotionally invested, they could jump ship much quicker than a person that's trading crypto that he had, a loss for 4 or 5 days. He's going to read insights and he's going to say, you know what, I'm going to hold on to it. So but I could also make, the argument to say it's similar to that as well. People see a loss in the crypto world and they pull their money out, and all of a sudden that crypto, that meme coin, whatever they're invested in, skyrockets, and they're doing the same thing. They're rooting for that coin to lose money. So there is a lot of correlation to that. I always say to bettors, like right now, we just started football season. Well, for most of my groups, we have 3 different groups that we deal with for football. All 3 have released college, and 1 group's already released their NFL games. We're doing this video on Thursday. I've had NFL plays from a group since Tuesday, and then our other group released college football yesterday. So you're talking about 99% of the work for football is done in the middle of the week. I'm not saying that you can't bet football games on Saturday and Sunday and not make money. But if you're a volume bettor like us, sharps bet early. The public usually bets late. That's always going to be the case.
We got 23 games yesterday from 2 different sources. We got 5 games the other day from another source. And that's the thing, again, as a broker, like I tell people, is that, it's like I was on the phone with a client, not a client, a potential client. And, his exact words were, can you do me a solid and give me tonight's game? And I say, yeah, you can head over to PickDawgz.com, watch my free play. The rule of 10 is in effect. Seattle won 10 games in a row. Kansas City won the game, snapped a 10-game winning streak. So the reality is that you want a free selection? Sure, you can go. But again, I even said to the client, I said, doing you a solid is trying to explain to you that one individual game doesn't matter. It's the hyper-focused nature of the short term, which keeps the financial reports for the sports books in business. You know what I mean? So like I explained to people, in reality, I still think the most the comment that I think ticks people off the most, Costi, is it's easy to win. Most people, when I'm on the phone with them and they're not clients yet, it's easy to win. That's easy, right? Now, did I say it's easy to win today? Did I say it's easy to win this weekend? I said it's easy to win. That's all I said. It's an open-ended statement. Now you have to define your time frame. And this is why when you get your financial report in the stock market, it's quarterly or 6 months or annually. And so this reality is the reality is most people don't want to hear that. Now, we can split this show now that we're in football. A lot of the stuff we say is repetitive over and over again. And it's the newbies that are watching. But like I can tell you, like I know that the sports books are never going to release a financial quarterly report or annual report for their stock shareholders that the gamblers won too much. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and listen, we try to do our best to explain these programs to clients, but at the end of the day, if they're not following directions, it's very hard for them to show long-term success. I mean, we've had groupies that have been our clients for years and listen to our every word, and those guys exponentially make money every single season. And they grow their bankroll and they change their unit size and they adapt and they see the different projects and the different groups that we associate with. There's a lot of sharp people in this world. A lot of those sharp people do not sell their products directly to the consumer.
Well, so I just did a video with not Costi. I just did a video with Micah. And what we did is we look, first of all, do you have, for some reason on both my computers, unless there's nobody chatting, do you have people asking questions or chatting on the comments? Because for some reason, I can't see it on mine.
No, not yet. Usually for anybody, this show is a Q&A show. So if anybody that's watching has any sort of questions regarding, maybe it's money management, maybe it's questions about how to bet.
There's Kelly. There you go. Yeah. Hi, Kelly. Go ahead.
If you have any sort of questions regarding how to bet, when to bet, questions about the sports betting industry, questions about your bankroll, anything regarding sports betting as a whole, please put it in the comments. This is why we do this show, to give back and to educate. And as much as we do this in our daily content, like Eric produces daily content with Big Al every single day, a lot of times they do educational pieces in there as well. All of this is going to make you a better in 2025. If you take anything away from this, if one person that watches this takes anything away from it, that's a win. Best bet money line. Do you like this? So somebody posted something about the Bills game. The games don't matter to us.
Well, wait, before you answer the question, I've learned being in the PickDawgz community, I was much more abrasive in my younger years, right? What I like about this show is that if you're watching this show, you're not going to get a free pick, right? So if you're here strictly for the free picks, please go enjoy it's a beautiful sunny afternoon here in Baltimore, Maryland. There's no reason to watch a show. This is about sports betting education. It's like taking a class at a college. I'm going to say this as nicely for everyone listening. If you care about individual games, never make another bet again. You can, it's your right, but you're just not going to win. Literally, there's no reason that anyone should care about any games, what shape the ball is, what sport it is. My job, because I'm dealing with 1%. Remember what I said before, Kasi? 0.01% of all gamblers win. My book is 0.01% of all gamblers that win, right? Thousands of views, thousands of people know who I am, and I deal with 0.1% of the gamblers that win, right? They're my clients. And so what I explain to people is that the great thing about this community, may his memory be a blessing, Mitch Wilson, is he used to say on all his videos, we have something for everybody. You're watching this, it's like you're in the Ferrari dealership. That's it. You're in the Ferrari dealership. Let's not talk about the Toyota Corollas. Let's not talk about the midsize Mercedes. You're in the Ferrari dealership. This is the red carpet rolled out. And then what we're doing is we're giving you a free test drive inside the Ferrari of what you could experience if you were a member. It's not a sales show. We're not trying to get you to join. We're trying to appeal to somebody out there that says, I'm tired of wasting my time. Every week, it's like a yo-yo, up and down, up and down. Because I know guys that start with $100,000, they set aside for football season, and they get to February 8th, which is the Super Bowl this year, and guess what? They went like this, and they have $100,000. They broke even. Like, it was all this emotion, right? There was no slow incremental wealth. So what I explain to people is, it sounds harsh, and I give out a free selection every day. And again, we're in a unique category, Costi, because a lot of people forget. Again, Mitch brought us into this community to bring something for that, not rich better that wants to treat their wagering as a business, that it's not available on 99% of the products that we have. Now, there's amazing handicappers on the website. Of course, you can go to PickDawgz. Of course, you can buy the selections, right? We already knew coming into this community, this family, that we're trying to do our part, as Mitch instructed us, to make sure that if you're somebody out there, like, and you're down $1 million in your FanDuel account, call us. We'll get your money back. We're not going to do it overnight, but we'll get your money back. If you're someone out there, and you're watching this and you've lost $50,000, like I had a client up the street in Maryland texted me he's like, I lost $20,000 in the last 3 years. We have something for you. Call us. And I told him the same thing I tell everybody. This focus of caring about what shape the ball is an utter leak, as your guest last week would say, David Miller. It's a leak. It's a leak, right? Every game is the same, regardless of shape. I'll tell you a perfect example, Costi. I went 1-0 last night in WNBA. Everybody was talking about WNBA all summer. The second football started, nobody's talking about WNBA. My syndicate had a play on WNBA yesterday. I released it. 1-0. Like, I didn't go, why are you giving me a WNBA game? There's all these other, like, who cares? And I think this is the hardest habit for somebody to break. We know the seasonal nature of this business, which is most people, more legal sports betting accounts, offshore accounts are going to be opened this time of year. We get it. We're not going to change the market, right? We're not going to change the market. We understand if 100 people bet football, 10 people bet baseball, we get it. But our job is to get you to be part of those 10 people. Our job is to take you from being the 100 sheep that do all the wrong things, move you into the category of the 10%. And then hopefully by being in the 10%, you can make your way up to the 0.1%. Regarding Kelly, any tips on halftime betting? Go to bed. I have a halftime Telegram channel. I'm 1-0 in halftimes. I only had one play last week. It's very hard, right? We're dealing with a betting syndicate that basically is running the numbers, and what they're doing is they're originating the halftime line. And the reason why halftime betting is so hard for most people is because here's the free tip. Whatever bet you make mentally in your head, if you're not subscribing to a halftime service like I offer, just bet the opposite. The sports book is forcing you into whatever you go, man, there's no way this is the easiest. Look, I watched the first half, and everything you watched, now you just go, okay, this is my selection. Click the other button. You got a better shot. That's the answer. Because what happens is that is the most emotional wager of all the wagers. You get this 15-minute window where everybody is watching the first half of the game and they're making an assumption. When it's history, it's over. It has no relevance on the second half. But they make the line based upon what you, the player, watched on the first half. So therefore, it's a corrupted line, and our job is to take advantage of the inefficiencies. So people like myself, people like Micah that are originators of the lines, meaning we're making a line, and we're waiting to see what the line is. So when the halftime comes out and the screen is up, I already know if the line is greater than this or less than this, I'm going this way or going that way. Has nothing to do with the team, has nothing to do with the halftime score. And so it's very hard for most people, which is why, again, most people lose. The other free tip in halftime betting, if the dog is winning at half, bet the dog at the second half, regardless of what the halftime line is, if you're not a subscriber. So the problem is a lot of people do what's reversion to the mean trading. So a team is up, an underdog, meaning they were an underdog in the game. They're up at halftime. Your mind says the favorite had a bad first half is going to come back and blow them out in the second half. So what the line makers do is they overinflate the line. So you're getting more points than you should. So you take the dog again in the second half.
Here's one for you.
I don't know if it's a trick question, so
I'll answer it. It's Mitch always said about college football, it's his favorite sport of the year on his favorite day of the week. Hopefully I didn't butcher that. He loved college football. He loved college football Saturday. And from a sharp side, from a betting side, you're always going to make more money in college sports than you do in professional sports because there's more of a handle. There's more games, more volume and turn. If you're betting more games with an edge, you're going to make more. You're significantly going to make a lot more money in the long run. NFL is centered around one day, bunched together, and people's, hyper focus on that 1:00 slate, then the 4:00 slate, then the night game, which is Chaser Special. I mean, I couldn't tell you how many times in the old days people would call us on Sunday night and go, how do I make back all the money I lost on Sunday morning? I need to figure out how to bet this game. It's like, doesn't even matter who's playing, what the edge is. Are you looking for a financial edge? Are you looking for a percentage edge? Is the line wrong? None of that matters. It's how do I get out of jail and at least break even on the Sunday night game? So if you want to bet NFL, it's definitely, you can make money with it, but look at college sports as the focal point of, if you're dealing with us and you purchase our products, we're going to make significantly more money in college sports than we do in professional sports because it's a bigger handle.
There's just more games. More games equal more opportunities. As we discussed, if you look at Al's breakdown last year, he had 350 college football games, 350 150 college football games, 150 NFL games, 350 NBA games, 650 college basketball games. So, again.
No, let me correct you. So he had 138 NFL games.
Are you looking on the leaderboard?
No, I'm just saying in general,
okay.
Overall. And he had 157 college football games.
Yeah, but he had 650 college basketball games. So again, you look at his card this week, he's got 16 games that he's already released to his all access members. And then the other syndicate has 7 games. You're talking about 24 games total. And that's the thing, is like a lot of people, they're looking for the one big game. The best advice I can give to people that aren't going to pay for information, stop trying to look for the Holy Grail. There's no big game. There's no lock. There's no big game. Every game's the same. There's no special game. There's no game that can't lose. This is all marketing, hype, fluff, and nonsense. I was just doing a video with Micah. I forgot we got off task before this morning because we're doing an educational series on what Micah does, which he's an originator. So like literally we're watching the video, we're recording our screens, and he says, we're going to bet this game. And you see the screen's black. He says, after we bet this game, it's going to light up. Now, when he says we're going to bet this game, he doesn't mean we're going to bet this game in one account. He means we're going to bet this game in 1,000 accounts simultaneously. And literally, I'll show you the video, Costi. The screen lights up like a Christmas tree. It takes about 15 seconds. He says, watch, it's going to be a slow roll. And you see boop, boop, boop. And that's what's called steam. And then you have what's called steam chasers. We are the ones making the steam. We have the pot on the oven. We're boiling the waters. We're making the steam. We're the originators. All these people, when they see lines move, they don't understand. We're the ones moving the lines. Our groups are moving the lines. So like I said, this is a whole nother aspect. And if you're watching this and you want to send me a text message, I'll email you a link to the video. You can watch the video. It's not published anywhere. If you're someone that is interested in using the product. Because again, like I tell people, handicapping is handicapping, syndicate betting is syndicate betting. And handicapping is you're handicapping players and teams, and people like Big Al are amazing at it. And the whole group of handicappers at PickDawgz are amazing at it. But then you have basically people that are originating the numbers. You know, if you're not betting on a money line, you're betting on a number. So when you're trying to get the best price, you're trying to buy low and sell high. I don't know what hot dog bun means. Could you expect a few?
Yeah. Listen, we don't give picks on the show. That's not what this is about. You know, I don't have any Heisman winners, divisional winners, World Series winners. Let's talk about futures. I mean, that's not what we are. We're not handicappers. As crazy as that sounds, we're in the business because we're the middleman between these mega syndicate groups. A group like Micah, which if you were there for the celebration of life last year in March, you would have met Micah. He's an originator. He's betting games for a living. He's moving the line for a living, and he sells a product because at the end of the day, he wouldn't have time during the day to work with individual clients like we do. He's too busy betting. I mean, this is not, I think a lot of people take for granted that sports, the sharps that bet for a living, they don't do anything else. They don't have a 9-to-5. They don't own other businesses that they have to operate. They might be investors, but at the end of the day, they spend their days sitting in front of screens, very boring, watching line moves, originating their own line, and putting out as much volume with an edge as possible. So we're just the middleman between all of this. And we allow guys like you, if you're qualified.
All I know is I want a hot dog for lunch.
I know, it says hot dog bun.
Now I want a hot dog.
I wonder if he's an avid
Hebrew National, mustard, ketchup, relish, raw onions, maybe a little chili on top.
He said it's his favorite food.
But I don't know if it, but hot dog, I got to ask you, is it Nathan's or Hebrew National? Because Nathan, took the kids to Brooklyn.
I'm not a big fan of Nathan's.
I took my kids to Brooklyn, where my mom's from, Sheepshead Bay, and we went to the original Nathan's. I'm going to take Hebrew National all day long. Not Nathan's isn't my jam. It's all right, but Nathan's plus 200, Hebrew National minus 250.
It's a big swing.
What's good Hebrew National? Barry's in the back. Good Hebrew National.
But, you know, primarily, he said he's from West Virginia, called Hillbilly Hot Dogs.
Let's see how far it is from my office.
Well, we're in Baltimore, Maryland, so it depending on where in West Virginia, it sounds drivable.
Probably
not.
Billy. Up, Ohio River, Lesage, West Virginia. Let's see here.
How far is that from here?
Start.
Turn left onto Greenwood.
8 hours and 36 minutes.
All right, we'll pass on the hot. That must be on the other side. It must be on the West Coast.
Oh, it is. Yeah, I'll show you.
West Coast, Virginia.
Yeah, west. It's like, look at that.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I used to drive to the sports book in West Virginia to make bets before it was legal in Baltimore, right over the border. You know what I mean? That's funny. Oh yeah, that's closer to Cincinnati and Lexington, Kentucky, than it is. That's like basically you're closer to Cincinnati and Lexington, Kentucky. But anyway, yeah, we know hillbilly hot dogs. But what do you want to talk about regarding this upcoming week's games?
Well, so like the NFL, for example, I always tell friends, like I have a lot of people that always like approach me, friends or even family. They're like, who do you like? They're always, who do you like? Who do you like this weekend? And I keep explaining to them, and then they go on. This is always during the NFL season. Then I give them, the data. I'll say, look, this is what I'm personally playing. And they always give me well, last week they didn't look good. It's always psychologically in the NFL, everybody is going to put emphasis into last week. And it will drain your bankroll. You have to have a blank slate. You have to go into every week. Is the right correct? Is it the correct line? Is the pricing correct? Are you getting value because of last week? Is it an overreaction from last week? Now, granted, this is week 3, so there isn't as much of a sample size for the season. But a lot of people look at last week and go, oh, I'll give you an example. So if you were betting on the Minnesota Vikings last week, you probably went into it going, week 1, they looked decent against the Bears. J.J. McCarthy came back, stormed back, won the game. Then the narrative is he's a winner. And I'm just talking about from a data, non-data side, an emotional fanboy reaction.
Right.
They're going to do good the following week, and then they get blown out of the water. So because psychologically you put so much emphasis on that week 1, you have clouded judgment for the week 2. Now, listen, at the end of the day, guys, I'm sure there's people in the comments here going, I've had really good the last 2 weeks of the NFL. I did really, really good. I believe it. Why? The public smashed. The public smashed week 1 and week 2. They smashed week 1 and week 2. From a sharp side, betting side, if you were a sharp and you were chasing the right pricing, you were about 500 week 1 and week 2. Most of the money that we've made this year in football has been so far from college.
Unless you were your guest last week. What did he sweep? Dave swept. He went 4-0 in the NFL?
No, he went 3-1.
Oh, okay. And then what did he go 4-0 in college?
Yeah, he had a good week 1, but no, he didn't sweep in NFL last week. So now it's week 3. So you don't think there's going to be a correction with these books? You don't think there's going to be a complete correction as we go on to the season that those teams that are the favorites are now going to end up losing?
Yeah, but let me give you, in the last 2 weeks, this is where it goes back to. So what most people don't understand is there's no edge betting favorites or dogs. It's such a sharp number. It's 50% at the end of the season. So there's like when you were saying the public's been killing. Really, the reality is if you bet every favorite since the season started, you're 18-14. It's up 4 games, then you take away the VIG, you're up like 2.5 games. If you bet every underdog since the season started, you're down 2.5 units. So, 18-14. If you look at the away favorites, they were 9-5. If you look at the home favorites, dead even, no edge, 9-9. Home dogs. So this is everybody goes home dogs. Home dogs are underperforming at 35.7%, 5-9. This is all against the spread. Away dogs are 9-9. They actually held their own 50%. When you look at the outright money lines, what you'll see is the favorites are 11-3 on the money lines, and the dogs, 5 dogs have won outright. So the underdogs winning outright have been underperforming at 27.8%. But at the end of the season, it's going to be about 40% on the money lines and 50% on the spreads. And so what happens is, like I said, it's like you said, people remember the last game they played, but they really don't understand. Like I know today, people are going to just bet against Buffalo, not saying I have a selection on Buffalo, just because it's quote unquote too many points. All that stuff is just fantasy land stuff. It's just in the end of the season, if you're a double-digit dog, you're going to perform about 52 to 53% versus 50%. It's not like the difference between 60% and 50%. You know what I mean? You're talking about like small percentages that put you in the profit versus the loss, which is what a lot of people don't really understand. You know what I mean?
And, with our products specifically, this is outside of the realm of what you could buy on the premium picks tab on PickDawgz. Because we're dealing with off market, where they're not daily cappers, these groups that give us games, they're releasing games as well as like Big Al, and there's other groups that release games already for the weekend. They're trying to get the better price. So obviously you still have to win more games than you lose, but if you're locking in a game on a Wednesday, -2.5, and then come Sunday, it's now -3.5, you have a whole point. You bought the stock price at the best optimal price at the perfect timing. We're the ones that dictate to you when to actually make that purchase when you make the selection. Again, people always will say, well, the game lost. At the end of the year, if I know I've been doing this long enough, I've been doing this for me, 2008, 17 years. I'm only 42.
Baby.
If you close good, and what I mean by that is if you're constantly ahead of the closing line when you make your bet, if you scale that over the course of the entire season, it's inevitable you're going to win more money than you lose.
What year were you born?
1983.
I started in 1986.
So I was 3 years old.
You were 3 years old. 39 years doing this.
Hot Dog Bud said he was 6 years old in 2008. Man, it ages me, the fact that he was born after I graduated high school. It's wild. And I don't feel old. But
the thing that really is compelling to me is that looking back at the 39 years, if you ask me, like, as a new bettor, who had the best chance of making money, it is literally the easiest time. Like, if the guy that purchased one of the services that I offered 39 years ago versus a new guy who has an opportunity to purchase a service that I have today, just by the technology and the information available and the sources and the connections, it's so much easier today than it was 39 years ago. We still won 39 years ago, but the work was a lot harder. So, but with the technology also comes the false sense of the false sense that you can do it yourself. So it's why we always say, like, when do we get the most subscribers to our services? In October. Why? They needed 4 weeks to crash and burn before they raise the right flag and say, I surrender. Basically, that's what happens, right? They come in, a lot of bettors that are not pros, which is fine. We understand not everybody can be a pro. They don't wager in baseball. They're not up to 30 units since the All-Star break or the 12 units from day one. They're not up those. They're just coming in it when the first college football game, or some of the guys just waiting till the first week one of the NFL. And then they're going to do their own handicapping. They're going to like the games. And again, like Hot Dog Brun was asking about the Browns game. Again, I understand fanfare. It just has no place in betting. It's just, it's just me. Like, who cares about being a fan? Like, it's just like, you're talking to the most ruin guy when it comes to fanfare. I've been doing this for 39 years. When I watch a game, if I watch a game, like I'm taking my son to the Monday Night Football game, you're going to go to the Monday Night Football game. If I watch a game because I'm taking my 20-year-old son, fine, I'll be a fan for my son. But the reality is that for me, actually physically watching a game, I just see like to me, it's like watching the screen on the bottom of CNBC. It's just a stock. Like they're not even people to me. It's a financial transaction, right? It's all it ever was before the legalization of wagering in 39 states. And now that's all it really is now, right? It is just an alternate form of the stock market. Literally cannot waste my time watching these games. You're different, Costa. You enjoy watching the games. I understand completely. My son watches every game. He's a fantasy freak. I get it. But when you're trying to make high stakes money and you're trying to treat this as an additional source of income, all those people are, including myself, aren't really watching the games unless they're live betting. But that's not a sellable
That's what I was going to say. You know, with me,
that's not a sellable product.
Right. Like I personally, it's not something that I promote because live betting, you can't promote it. It's too fast. But I'm glued to my screen.
I draw the line at half times.
I mean, my wife already knows Saturday and Sunday, I'm sitting in front of the screens all day because that's how I put food on the table. Myself, live betting, figuring out loopholes. There's a lot of gray areas you could find and attack in these books. And a lot of the stuff, there's strategies and their tactics that I've learned from other sharps. And there's ways to make money that you're just sit there and you're finding market inefficiencies on live betting. And you could see which books lag and have a delay. And there's a lot of different strategies that you could follow. But the reality is it's work. It's not easy. It's not something that you could bet it and forget it. We do offer products like that from a consulting side, but I could tell you Saturday and Sunday, I am glued to my screen. She knows the deal. She realizes that is a way that I feed the family where I'm sitting there and I'm literally finding market inefficiencies. And then when college basketball starts and NBA starts, I'm doing the same exact thing. So is that a lifestyle for everybody to try to emulate? No, it's very hard. And it's, yeah.
Nor for me, I would never do it. So it works for you. There's always different flavors. It works for different people. For me, it's just, I have enough information and enough connections with the biggest betting groups in the world that I don't need to complicate my life. I get you're also 10 years younger than me. So it's a completely, you grew up in a more technological age. I mean, when I look at me, I'm old school. This is my computer program. I'm old school. Like I'm literally pen and paper. You know, people try to get me to use these electronic, like the iPad with the electronic pen so you don't waste paper. This is my high stake black book betting 101. We're literally talking about a college ruled notebook, old school, have 700 of these in the corner after the notes are in piled up. I mean, you know, it's old school. You know what I mean? You know, you probably never even, you don't really write. I see you over there. You don't generate paper. You don't write.
You know, it's funny. I take a lot of notes. I take a lot of notes, but it's not on a paper. It's on the iPad. I
need my brain to ink it.
I use the pencil and you know, the Apple pencil.
Look, I bought an iPad once. I got the pencil. I lost the pen. Went back, bought another one for $100. Lost the pen after $500 in pens. I was like, you know what? This is good.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, a lot of it is spreadsheets, and it's not something I'm writing down. It's monitoring my P&L. The best advice I can give to anybody that's new to sports betting, keep an accurate profit and loss. These sports books that now with the legal side, with FanDuel, DraftKings, you can go and see your history, how you did last month, how you did last week, what your P&L is for, you know, the history of your entire account. Keep accurate P&L and understand what you're doing and what your expectations are. Have realistic expectations with your starting bankroll.
And it couldn't be any easier if you're betting an illegal sports book. I'm illegal sports, because I was on the phone with a client once and he was telling me how, I win. I said, go click on your, financials, run a report. And he was like, oh, he had this negative number. He was like surprised. I was like, yeah, it's the illusion of ignoring reality. You put some money in, you win, you withdraw the money, you feel like you made the money, but you're not actually doing the real math, deposits versus withdrawals. And as I said, back to the legal sports wagering stocks that list their financials, 99.99%. So I always say, I'm very firm. Like, if you're someone that is frustrated and you feel it's unwinnable, you're the problem. It couldn't be any easier. The caveat is, if you ask me what keeps most people from winning, it's the false comparison of sports versus the stock market. Nobody enters and opens up a stock account with $200. But the marketing for the legal sports wagering is put in $200 and you'll get a free parlay. They're trying to get you in with a small amount of money. In a perfect world, I would tell everybody, don't even open up a betting account unless you have $10,000. If you have $10,000 you can set aside from your separate bills, don't even bet, right? It's just you have all the stories on social media of the guy that started with $200 and took it to $20,000. It's a rarity. It's a rarity.
And I always say this, for our products, it's not worth it if you have less than that. You could bet with $50 in your account and you could just see what you do on a night-to-night basis. That nobody's saying you can't have entertainment that way, but from a business side, just like you wouldn't start a business with $500 in operating costs. With sports betting, it's no different than stock trading for our groups, for our products. That's why we deal with such a small percentage of the population on this entire platform. And we're always going to have a very niche product that is exclusive to guys that, one, can understand, like you said, that roller coaster, that understand that variance is inevitable, and that understand they know how to determine their time frame. Nobody's coming into it going, I expect to win every single day with our products. You shouldn't do that with any product. I mean, look at the leaderboards. There's guys, the top guys on the PickDawgz leaderboards are 59, maybe 60%. That's real. I tell you this is the best advice I can give you. If you go on Instagram or something, wherever you're searching and your algorithm catches it, somebody's 75%, turn off your phone and run. There ain't nobody hitting 75%.
75% that day.
No, I'm talking about long term. They never lose. They
won't show them. They won't show the long term. So it's irrelevant. It's like
real data is on this platform.
The top guy on MLB, that's basically the way I bet on the MLB platform, is up 38 units, and he's 47%. So if I'm up 18 units, I'm up 12 units, I'm probably 45%, right? So I'm 4-6 basically on every 10 games on underdogs, and I'm up money. So this whole 80%, 90% short-term streaks are fine, but in reality, it confuses the forest from the trees of, I always say when I'm on the phone with a client calls me today, it's the 18th of September, and he says, well, how much money do you think I can make? I say, how much do you want to make between September 18th and February 18th? They don't want to hear that. Like, I don't care about October 18th. I don't care about November 18th. I don't care about December 18th, because this last baseball season that I just had is a perfect example. Is you can't determine the variance. Minus 18 units, plus 12 units. MMA locker room said it. Bankroll money management. I know that. I'm sorry.
That's Mills.
Oh, what's up, Mills? So, it's It's bankroll money management. Nobody wants to hear that. Oh, you were minus 8. Because if I just said, oh, I'm up 12 units for the season, that's disingenuous.
But
If I just said,
so I don't mean to cut you off, but so Mills gives out all the UFC picks for the site. So if you guys are into UFC, definitely watch his videos. The guy is a machine. That is the only sport that I will ever parlay. It's the best odds for a parlay, not basketball, not football, not even baseball. The best odds for parlays are with UFC because you could do double chance, which means you pick either two ways that they could finish or actually predict the way that they finish the fight. So it's my buddy and I have done really, really well over the years. You know him, Eric, that bets
yeah.
parlays in UFC. That is when there's no line on a game. Baseball is really hard because baseball, you're just betting an outcome money line. With UFC, you could actually scrape. And if you're into it, the data matters because matchmaking matters as well in the UFC of, is it a jiu-jitsu guy fighting a boxer? Is it a guy that matches up well with length, with speed, with size? I mean, there's so many different factors. That is the only sport I will ever parlay. So if you're a parlay bettor and you took something away from this entire podcast that we do, and you just want to bet parlays, stick to UFC. I know it's only once a week. I mean, basically, there's a UFC card every single week now, but I know it's only once a week at most, but make a lot of money betting parlays in UFC. So as we finish out the show here, Eric,
I just got to move from a big group on a WNBA game. I'm sure a lot of people are excited. Never worry about what shape the ball is. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
No, I was going to close it down here as we're getting into the last couple minutes of the show. If you do want to parlay, Mills said share, Eric. Here's a question. If you want to parlay other sports, would it be better to parlay different sports? No, the only sport that you can get away with parlaying, in my opinion, is UFC. That's it. Not saying you can't parlay other sports. I'm saying
correlated parlays in baseball, but you'll get your account locked. Long teasers in NFL, but you'll get your account locked. So again, there's stuff that's established that is profitable. It makes money over time. It's all based on mathematics, no handicapping. The minute your account gets flagged, like you could bet long teasers all day long. Your account's going to last. You're going to be $20 better. They're going to say, sorry, we're sending your wagering to trading. You know, all you got to, I mean, everybody knows that. So even though everybody knows they win, who cares if you can't bet them, right? So you got to have 200 accounts and bet $100 on each teaser. Otherwise, you're cut off in 5 seconds. So there are established systems that actually win correlated parlays in baseball, long teasers in the NFL. But if you don't have 100 accounts, 50 accounts, you're going to crush your account. The sports books don't let you get away with stuff that they know that wins. Your enemy is not yourself. Your enemy is the sports book, unlike the stock account, which is so liquid that you can't short or go long enough stock for it to matter. In the sports book world, once they label you as a sharp bettor, you're done. So you could have all the winners in the world, but if you can only bet $25 a game, it's not going to help you.
And what's the easiest way not to get limited? Pregame. Pregame betting is the way for you to sustain without getting labeled sharp out of any account. And we can get more into arbitrage and stuff like that will get you limited in the next week's podcast. But guys, thanks again for listening to us rant about sports books, and we'll be back here next week, same time at 1:00. So turn on the notifications for this particular podcast called Tales from the Ticket. Make sure you know that next week we'll be back here same time at 1 p.m. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. We have free picks on this channel on every single game, every single day. And if you're looking for best bets from any of the cappers that are on the site that you like, you can go to PickDawgz.com. But if you want to access any of these higher end mentorship products when you're dealing with Eric or myself personally, the link is in the description below to the Dime Club. There's a phone number listed that goes directly to Eric. So, guys, thank you. As always, another amazing show. We'll be back here next week at 1 p.m.